what has, in your view, what has changed at the border from when Donald Trump was president?
Oh, it's so far worse. So far worse. I always tell everyone, I've been covering the border since the Bush administration. There was only one president, and I remember the border even before the Bush administration, believe it or not, but there was only one president that actually meant what he said and did what he said, and that was actually President Trump. And I don't know how people took it. I mean, it's a very difficult subject, right? The issue of immigration, the issue of people fleeing their country or young people undocumented. I mean, we look at the humanitarian issue when it comes to that. But I want people to understand that are listening to this right now. And I'm saying this just because this is what I have experienced and what my knowledge is from all the years I've covered the border. The crisis, the humanitarian crisis, is perpetuated by the fact that we don't have established rule of law that we follow through with. That was going into not only from the Bush administration, but going into the Obama administration. We saw those changes in the Trump administration just in the 4 years. Then he was like, nope, these are the rules. We will not allow you to come in until you are processed. Now, you got to stay over there. We're going to process you through. We're going to find a better way to do this. But we can't just allow and perpetuate this type of behavior where drug cartels, human traffickers, and corrupt politicians and others are basically using human beings in a political game. They're pawns in some kind of political game. And you see the results of that. You see children dying on the road. You see rape and predators targeting innocent migrants who were used in this political game. I'm not just blaming the United States here. They're also pawns in political games in Central America and South America, all over the world. And they get mixed messages. And when I'm down there talking to them, and I say to them, especially on this trip, let's talk about this last month. I don't put words in their mouth. I say, what made you come here? Well, President Biden, because that's what we're hearing everywhere, that we have 100 days to get into the country. President Biden isn't turning anyone back. My family came in last week. They called me. They said they're getting processed. They hear it from word of mouth. They hear it on the internet. They hear it from corrupt politicians or people who maybe want to target the United States. And they'll use Biden's own words. They'll use Vice President Kamala Harris's own words to lure people here. But you got to see the consequences of this, and the consequences of this are lives lost, young children, young girls. Imagine being 7 years old on a journey from Honduras, going through 3 nations, being brought in by people that are not your guardians or your parents. What do you think happens to a young child like that, or a young teenage girl, or a young boy for that matter? These children are targeted. They are destroyed, I think, spiritually inside. Some of them, I've had young girls where, where they've let me know, and I don't want to, talk too much about this, where I've had to go to the Border Patrol and say, could you please get her to a doctor? She has more than likely been raped, and she needs to be checked. She's only 13 years old. So, when people say that, laws, are stopping, all these wonderful people from coming into the country, realize that some of these wonderful people are being trafficked by the most horrific people on the planet. And that's the horror of it, Dennis. And I think that's what, breaks my heart. It's the reason why I keep going back to the border. It's the reason why I've traveled to Guatemala 3 or 4 times. It's the reason why I'm going back. It's the reason why I'm so focused on, our nation's laws and
so
how that affects our national
what
security.
is the average individual from Honduras or Guatemala, let's say, what would they answer to you? Gee, I didn't know this happens. It's worth the risk. It's extremely rare. They don't want this to happen to their children. So what would they respond?
Well, it's based on who you're talking to. They don't ever really say it's worth the risk. Like if their child has been harmed, I think, and they're a decent human being, they would say that they can't believe that this actually happened, that they actually thought that they would make it in safely. But I got to tell you right now, Dennis.
All right, wait, tell me right. Don't forget what you want to tell me right now, Dennis. That's because I'm very interested in hearing the response to that. Sara Carter is at saracarter.com, and she is sort of embedded with people coming in the southern border. I'm Dennis Prager.